nice and excited to meet you finally.
Thank you
And
so
I'm a
much.
big supporter and follower.
Very humble.
And
Thank you.
really, all what you give us is really meaningful and it helps a lot. If tomorrow you had to rebuild your entire influence from zero, what the first and unconventional move you would make that nobody expects from you today?
I would stream live 24 hours a day.
Wow.
Live.
Live.
I think it's the biggest opportunity right now, both in building a brand and selling something. So I think live shopping is exploding around the world. TikTok shop. And I think live streaming, Kick, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, going live is what I would do.
As content creator and as media, you think also we have to go live?
Yeah, I think your company, even though it's almost 100 years, no different than 15 years ago, social media, whoever moved fastest in legacy media, that mattered. I think live is about to really surprise and excite players. It's very clear that it's happening.
What is one truth about success that you still hesitate to say out loud because it would challenge how most people live their lives?
That it doesn't matter. I think that for me, no question, foundational to my success is my detachment from my professional success.
It's a big relief for anyone.
I think so. I think a lot of people are so caught up in materialism. I think it's a very big disease in our world. I think that most people want to be successful to buy things. Silly things like fancy cars and I don't know. For me, no question, the thing that would surprise most people is how completely detached I am from my notoriety, my fame, my finances. I'm proud of it. I love doing it, but it doesn't define me. And I think that has a lot to do with why I'm good at it.
Nice. If AI takes over all efficiency, what will become the most valuable human skill in the next decade and how should the world prepare for it?
Intuition. I'm very bullish on it. I believe that, I don't know if you're aware of this or the listeners or viewers or readers are, but in the last 20 years in the medical field, we've started to understand gut health more.
Yes.
Thank God. It's helping a lot of people. I'm even getting goosebumps. I have a very big belief that your intuition is your primary brain and your brain is secondary. And I think for the last 150 years, we've been taught the reverse. I have a funny feeling that the rise of machines and robotics and AI and technology will create a counter and people will start to become even more human. And I think stop filling our brains with information to remember and start learning how to feel our feelings will lead to a much bigger nirvana in life. I believe my ability to listen to my gut has been very sneakily a big factor in my life. And I think that that's what's coming next.
And I can feel because really intuition is the most important thing. When you feel something and it's everything.
And if you know that the way I know that, then you know that when you go against it, it's always the most disappointing because you knew, right? Relationship, business, ideas. Yeah, I'm excited. I think the rise of intuition is going to be a very cool reality from the AI era we're going into.
When did you realize that empathy, not hustle, became your real superpower? And how did that shift the way you lead and create?
I think I inherently knew it forever. I think it took me a long time to communicate it because I didn't know how to put it into words. I always knew that me being nice and caring about other people was the biggest reason everything was working. But I didn't have the vocabulary yet to even understand the difference between empathy and sympathy and compassion, which are all very similar. So if you talk to me when I was 15 or 19 or 25, I would say that me being a nice guy was the reason everything was working. Later in my life, I started to understand which words meant what, and I started to communicate it more.
And when we talk about life, and we have the tough part and the nice part, how to
I think
to make the balance between both.
Yeah, I think in business, I think being competitive, trying to win, I don't think it's a tough part. I think it's a reality part. When you're trying to build something, raising children is hard. Like I actually think hard is good. I think anything that is relationships, love, children, businesses, it's all hard. Um, I think there's a way to be real and candorous and authentic, and I don't think it has to be bad. It hurts when you fire. I hate firing people so
Same.
much, and it's been a weakness of mine, and it's hurt. It took me a long time to realize the people I was hurting was the people that were working the hardest when I wasn't firing. That took me a long time. That was a real shortcoming of mine. But I think I think as we all grow up, you realize that hard things are important. In fact, I believe today we blame technology for a lot of things, that modern parenting is the problem, not technology. And I think one of the reasons modern parenting is hard is we are softer on our children.
True.
And it's a beautiful reason. It comes from love. But if you really love something, you have to teach it every part of life. And so I think it's easy to balance because it's true.
Yeah. What's the one fear you've never fully conquered, even after all your success?
Fear?
Mm-hmm.
Many, actually. Recently, probably in the last 3 or 4 years, it became obvious to me that the reason I'm so happy is that my parents didn't die when I was a kid. My mom lost her mother when she was 5. And my father lost his dad when he was 15. And it's almost as if I blocked this out. But about 5 years ago, I started to realize I was scared that my parents were going to die every day of my childhood, every day.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
This is what happened to me at 22. They killed my dad and I had to take all over the business. Until now, after 20 years, it's something.
I'm so sorry. I think by the time I became 20, I was so grateful that they didn't die that it made my whole life easy. So I still have a fear of my parents dying. Or now it's my siblings, my parents, my children, my wife. I have an incredible fear of the people I love most dying. I'm scared of heights still. That's really it. I'm not scared of anything besides that. Everything else is controllable.
In one word, if you need to fill your strap, how do you like to say, who are you? After all those years.
I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. I'm also very well parented. My mother just did a remarkable job. Another reason I think I'm so detached from is because I don't think it's me. I think it's her. She just did such a good job. It's why I talk about parenting so much. My mom made me confident and made me very loved, but she made me very accountable.
Nice.
Like she kept me do you know that I lived my whole life being scared to even think about disrespecting my mom? I was scared to even think it. That's how much, and I think we've lost that.
Yes.
We don't even ground children in today's world are growing up without any consequences. We definitely don't hit kids anymore.
True.
But we don't even punish them.
And what does it mean for them?
And so they grow up thinking life has no consequences, and then they go into the real world, and the world is built totally on consequences.
So what do you tell all the new generation who's listening to you today?
I talk to them, as you know, every day. I tell them to stop being full of shit and to realize that, they need to learn a relationship with losing. I think the greatest thing that anyone can have happen to them is that they get comfortable with losing, because then they stop being scared.
Today, if I ask you a question, how can you evaluate the satisfaction in your life? Are you satisfied with what you do?
Yeah, I understand the question. My biggest goal is optionality. I like knowing that I can do anything, and it's not because of finances. It's because of simplicity. I love that when I wake up every morning, I'm not scared to lose everything, because I'm as excited to live a simple life as a complicated life. In fact, I think, the more my life gets complicated, the more I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go live in a farm in Croatia. And, like everything excites me, if that makes sense, Like I'm just very hopeful that, probably the thing that's what we're doing right now, what we're talking about is probably the thing that's most important to me. I want to just keep sharing what I think is valuable information with the hope that even the three of you, let alone everyone who's listening, that I say something a certain way on the right day that allows for people to have less. Everybody has so much pressure.
True.
And I don't think it's technology and government's fault. I really don't. Because the world has been hard all the time. When everyone's like, oh, it's terrible now. I'm like, do you have any idea about history? Do you know how much better the world is for women right now than ever in the history of the world? I don't think people understand. And so I really do believe that we've become incredibly over-coddled. I think people are selfish. I think one of the reasons parenting has been challenged is parents used to give their whole life to their kids. We don't. Me too. We do not. And so I think people need to be more grateful. I think we live in an amazing time. Clearly, bad things happen. I mean, look at your beautiful country. Adversity happens. Things happen. But I think that you're in control of what happens next, And so I'm very motivated to speak optimism because I think it's practical.
This is how we need to end it, with optimism. And everywhere in the world, I think every part in the world, they have their own problems and their own fears.
You know what I always say? If you want to wake up tomorrow and find negativity, it's everywhere. But if you want to wake up tomorrow and find positivity and opportunity and optimism, it's even more there. In life, you find what you're looking for.
The last question, you talked about the new generation and about kids and the young, let's say, teenagers. And you know well, and you talk to them every day. And all the work for them, it's a different concept of work. And they think everything is easy. How to tell them that life is not so easy and you have the ups and downs and everything?
It comes in two forms. One, they're not wrong. I keep telling a lot of companies, they're like, these kids don't want to work. I'm like, no, they don't want to work for you. You want to pay them nothing to do a lot. They can go make TikToks and make more money. Why would they work for you, right? So, to the kids' credit, they have so much more options than you have.
Yeah.
So that's true. On the flip side, I don't need to tell them that life is hard. They're going to find that out without me. I want to tell them that they need to be mentally strong for when life is hard. And ironically, mentally strong when life is good. One of the things that I have to work on is I focus more on humility than anything because so much is going well. My greatest sadness is watching friends, when things become successful, they lose themselves.
True.
They think they're special. And I think that's just as dangerous as being depressed.
Yeah. So true. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.